Okay, this is my review of the Mountain Coast H1s. Got over 110 miles total. I'm going to refer to a documented review I have on WeeViews, which I'll link to in the description. For 80 miles, I have a summary for it there, but I have since run a 50K in the shoes, so I'll add a little bonus material at the end overall. So just some shoe deets. My size 12 came in weighing 9.9 ounces on both the right and left shoe. The sample size, which is normally in a size 9, is 8.4 ounces. The heel stack is 36 millimeters and the drop is 6 millimeters. The upper is a double layer jacquard mesh, 40% recycled material. Provides fairly breathable comfort, nice resilient for the most part. I have one comment on that in a bit. It is a neutral shoe. There is a lightweight rubber with 2 millimeter lug depth on the outsole. Does great in dry condition, not so much in wet, but I'll get to that in the outsole. The shoe runs for $160 USD from the website. You can get them on some other sites, like I believe Running Warehouse carries them. Locally, Good Times Running in Houston carries them, same price. They have a tuned fit dual lacing system on the upper. The outsole is a Versa grip, and the foam is a Circle Cell nitrogen, which that is a renewable recycled material. I believe it's made out of some biomaterial, but I'll get to that in a bit in the midsole section. Okay, on to my thoughts on the upper. So the first thing is, this looks very clean. I have a wife who doesn't understand dirty trail shoes, so she just takes them and cleans them. I've made these dirty. I'll try to put some pictures throughout the upper review, some dirty pictures, but love her. She just likes clean shoes. Anyway, they call this the dual fit, or the tuned fit dual lacing system. And what that means is they have a quick lacing system here down closer to the front of the foot, and then traditional lacing up here. So that is so that you can keep a good lockdown in your midsole, and then use this to both adjust open or tighter as needed. The thought behind that is for when you're on ultra runs, long runs, and you may be getting some foot swelling, you can open these up fairly quickly during the run to give your foot some more space. I do not currently have many issues with foot swelling, but I get the idea behind the design intent. And I'm not going to complain. I don't want foot swelling. I'm good with that. My experience with the lacing, honestly, it's been very good. They have this same system in their R1, R1R designs on their road shoes. I have 100 and some miles on the R1R. Never had any problems with this. The only, I guess, challenge I had with this one was on downhills. Had a little bit too much room, and I was getting just a little bit of slippage inside the shoe on some original downhills I was doing testing miles. But when I got done, I tightened this area up, relaced this a little bit, just tightened things up, made it a little bit more of a racing fit, and then the next time I ran in it, I had no slippage. So I have seen some other reviewers mention some slippage on the downhills. I was able to correct it through just different lacing techniques, just tightening this up mainly, and it worked for me. I do have a foot that seems to fit a lot of shoes, so it's easy to get a long foot for a lot of shoes. So these laces are a ribbed style. They stay tied very nice. I don't know if you can see this, but it is fully gusseted. I love fully gusseted tongues. They stayed wrapped around. I had great lockdown on this shoe through the midfoot. The collar is nicely padded, but not over padded. It doesn't soak up the sweat. I think that's mostly it on it. The heel, it's a structured heel, but I had no slippage. It did great. My foot stayed locked in. The only issue I've really had, other than the slipping, which I was able to correct, and I don't know if this will show up, is I have some rubbing away right here on the collar. I did not have this issue in the R1R. I did see some people mention this issue on the R1. but I did not encounter it on that upper design. And I took some video of it and then looked at it. I don't know if you can't really show up, but I'm also seeing a little rubbing here on the tongue, and I'm wondering if before I got the tighter lockdown, I was seeing some movement. So, you know, when you're running and interacting with it, there was some movement here, and I'm just wondering if what's happening is on a looser lockdown, if you're getting some friction here, and that's what's causing the material to rub away. Don't know if there's much they can do with that other than maybe put a harder material here, but then you're going to have a harder material on there, and sometimes that rubs the foot. So it's just something, if you're looking at that and you're starting to have some of this, you may want to look at your lockdown, because you may be able to fix some of that beforehand. I'm not sure why I had it in this one and not the R1Rs, because it is basically the same upper, but it is what it is. It doesn't seem to be getting any worse, and honestly it did great on the 50K. Had no slippage, it was all rock. Did great during that. The quick lace system works. Solomon, I think, made these popular in the trail running world, but it's a very easy to get along with design, and I just honestly just tuck it under when I'm running, and it doesn't flop around. Other than that, just the design language. I like the design language. It's a very clean looking design, which I like, but that's personal. Everybody has different tastes. So that's it on the upper. Okay, so onto the outsole. So as noted, these are 2mm lugs. The shoe design and intent is for a hybrid shoe, so road to trail. It's not technically meant for very technical trails, although I did kind of run in technical trails on these in my 50K, but it was a dry condition, so I felt confident going into it. Proved out to be good. But the one thing about this shoe, we probably all ran, if you're watching this video, you've done trails. Some of the trail shoes that you run in and you're on road conditions, it actually feels like you're on cleats, like you know, soccer cleats, football cleats, whatever it is. Kind of feels clunky on the road. These felt smooth. This could easily just be a road shoe. I'm actually going to be using it for mostly a road race at the end of December, but it does a great job. I think Mountain Coast did a very just high-end job of finding a shoe that counterbalances the two surfaces that this is meant to run on, which is light trail and road. I think it does a great job on this. I ran on surfaces from blacktop to concrete to loose dirt, wet trail, dry trail, roots, rocks, grass, just about anything in between. In all dry conditions, it did great. It did not do great in mud, which is what I was expecting, but I still gave it a go just to see. But however, it did do well on wet limestone, some like grassy terrain where it wasn't mud, but it was just wet. It held its own there. It was just where it was just pure muddy conditions, just wet dirt, and it slipped. But I also ran into the same conditions in a true trail shoe, and it was also slipping. So it just is what it is. You have 2mm lugs, you should expect them to act like 2mm lugs. So it gives you some extra traction, but not very technical, especially in muddy conditions. But I don't think that's the intention of the shoe. But for you, for my own fun, I tested it anyway. And that is it on the outsole. Okay, so on to what I think is the star of this shoe. And let me just be clear, I really enjoy everything about this shoe, but this midsole, for me, it's the star. It's circle cell foam. I don't know if you'll show up, it's just embedded into the foam right there. It is a renewable foam. It's made from feedstocks, including organic waste and residual biomass. I think it's made from chicken stock. It's a collaboration between Mountain Coast and BASF, BASF, and they did great. It's supposed to be a long-lasting foam, so I don't know if you ever run another renewable type of foams, but they tend to not have a long life cycle. So as part of their goal for being friendly to the environment, they want a shoe that lasts long, which makes sense to me, and also biodegrades. So gives you a nice durable foam and also biodegrades. Winner in both sides. The foam and the geometry of this shoe are just fantastic for my mechanics. It is a perfect partnership between the way I run, what I enjoy, and underfoot feel. As I mentioned in the outsole, it's just running on the road, you don't notice this is a trail type of shoe at all. The lugs do a good job, but I think it's in large part the foam and geometry of the shoe underfoot that just makes it a joy to run on the roads. I am going to be using this on a 55-hour endurance run. It's not going to be the only shoe I have because I'll want to rotate, especially if there's weather. But it is one of my primary shoes I'm planning on using. It hits all the notes that you want on a shoe. It's protective, you can adjust it, it's versatile, and it's just fun to run in. Not much else to say on that. It's just a fantastic foam. I'm hoping that Mount Coast has plans to use this foam in some of their road shoes, which to this date they haven't done, but I think they have a winner in this foam. Okay, so that covers the basics of the shoe. Just a little added notes. My initial 80 miles of testing, I did, as I noted, wet and dry conditions. It was some rock, but it was mostly root, dirt, grass, road conditions. I had been signed up for a 100K race, the Big Texas Ultra, for Texas Outlaw Running, and I ran 50K. I'll probably make a video as to why, but let's just say my ankle had an avocado popping out of it for a while, so I was not able to finish the 100K. Story behind that one, but the route that I did would have been the full route done twice for the 100K. So I was able to at least get the full route in, and I did the entire 50K in these shoes. I rolled my ankle at mile 0.44, so yeah, I did 31 miles basically by the time I got a little extra in on a blown up ankle. It was not the shoe's fault. I hit a rock, the rock moved, my foot moved, my leg did not. The victim was the ankle. Didn't feel the pain. I felt the pain instantly, but then it kind of dulled away, and then I started noticing I was feeling the shoes more than I was used to, because my ankle was swelling out over the collar of it. Anyway, the conditions of the trail, it was probably 75% rock. Every kind of rock you could think of, just from big boulders, big just platform rocks, loose gravel, anything you can think of with rock, that course had it. There was some elevation, but no wetness. It was all dry. There was some Jeep road, some dirt, but it was really the rock that I had not encountered on my training miles up to that point, and this shoe did great. The only thing I'm noticing is I am getting some wear on the left foot, which is my high wear spot. I tend to rub and just wear that spot out on shoes. I've gone through ultras in like 160 miles. So even though it's got some wear, I still got a lot of life left in the shoes, so I'm not too worried about that. But just wanted to note that I am wearing through the rubber on that. So it may not have the lifespan of Vibram, but I think for the intent of the shoe, it's doing good. And as I noted before, I'm still planning on using this shoe for the Snowdrop 55-hour endurance run. The 50K miles that I did in it, it was a good part walking, but I was able to kind of recover with the help of Advil and a wrap on the second half of the route. I think my leg just went numb, but I started running and the shoes felt great. Just very supportive. I felt confident when I was landing on my right foot, not my left, because that's the one I sprained. But it did nothing but confirm my thoughts that this is going to be a great ultra shoe for any kind of conditions that are dry, that you want to run in. You want to use this for road, do it. It's a great road shoe. If you just want to use it for road, it's just a fantastic shoe. kudos Mount to Coast, and again, love this film. If you're in the Houston area, by all means, go to Good Times Running. They're carrying the H1 and I believe the R1 right now. I don't know if they have plans on expanding the model scope, but right now they're carrying those two models. Great people at Good Times. I do not get any kind of feedback or money back or anything for promoting Good Times. They're just a great local store. They support the running groups and runners in the area very well. So that's all I got. Hope your day is great. Hope you're out there enjoying the runs, getting the mileage in. Have a great day.